Today's topic of conversation is my review of the Punta Del Este Formula E-Prix Series 4 Round 6, and what a race! Let's just get that off the bat. What a fantastic race. Easily the best race of the season. This will go down in history as two of the greats of Formula E, Lucas di Grassi and Jean-Eric Vergne, battling it out. Looks like this season's world champion fighting last season's world champion. A fantastic race all throughout. Just a quick disclaimer as well. Sorry this has come out so late. I was really busy yesterday and so I didn't get to see the race until this morning, which is a bit of a bummer, but there's not really much I could do about it. So sorry about that, but here we go. Here is my race review of the Punta del Este Uruguay E-Prix. And yesterday, or the day before actually, in qualifying, it was a pretty interesting affair. Obviously, we had Jean-Eric Vergne on pole and Lucas di Grassi second, so it's a pretty uniform lineup there. But then in third, we had Alex Lynn, great effort from him. Then Oliver Turvey and Daniel Apps, so mixing it up there with Bird, PK and Buemi all in the midfield. So it was hotting up to be a very, very interesting race just from the qualifying hours earlier. So very, very good stuff there. And then obviously the race came. Lap 1 then, not too many dramas to be perfectly honest with you. Everyone pretty much held station, held position. Nick Heifeld further back in the pack did take up a bit too much damage and ended up retiring on the first lap. But then, after lap 1, that's when everything started kicking up a gear, setting into motion. On the very next lap, we had Sam Bird trying to overtake Andre Lotterer for 8th place. I believe it was Lotterer doing a bit of an extreme defensive manoeuvre, blocking Bird, bit of front wing gone, very, very tasty. Like I say, only on the second lap. Nearly in the wall was Sam Bird, fantastic driving. And then Andre Lotterer, just a few corners later, through the slingshot, nearly lost it and went in the wall himself. It was great stuff and really was a sign of things to come. Then on lap 4, it was Buemi doing the overtake on Bird this time, and I can't deny it was a dirty dive bomb. It wasn't a nice move to watch. Late on the brakes was Buemi, hit Bird wide, bit of contact made. No love there. I wasn't impressed at all with that from Buemi. I've said before, just a little disclaimer again, I'm not Buemi's biggest fan, but I was not a fan of that move whatsoever. A bit dirty, a bit distasteful for my particular liking. Then, on lap 7, Lotterer finally got passed by Sam Bird, and what seemed to be a theme this particular race is if someone lost a place, then they'd lose about 4 or 5. It happened with PK earlier on in the race, and then it happened with Andre Lotterer on lap 7. So Bird passed him, then Engel, and then DaCosta nearly got past him. So not a great race from Andre Lotterer, I'll say that there, and that's the last we really saw of him in this particular race. Then lap 11, camera pans over to Sebastian Buemi. His rear tyres destroyed. Now, I was happy. I can't deny I was buzzing. I think for Formula E, I just like the fact that we have a different winner each season, and I'll be honest, Buemi is one of the best drivers in Formula E. I think that's pretty safe to say. I think now we're getting some younger drivers in like Felix Rosenqvist. Maybe that meta is sort of shifting, but Buemi is still up there with the best, and even though I'm not a huge fan of him, he is a good driver, and we can't take that away from him. But like I say today, I was happy that he had this failure, and at first it didn't seem too huge, but then when he got round to the pits and his rear left tyre was pretty much falling off, pretty gutted for him there, to be perfectly honest. Didn't really seem to be, it shouldn't have affected his race as much as it did. A bit sorry for him, a bit like Felix Rosenqvist last weekend. It's just a little mistake. I mean, Felix Rosenqvist wasn't, but Buemi, a little mistake and it costs him everything. But that's what makes Formula E great. These street circuits, always kicking up a stir, always kicking up a fuss, and that's what makes the series so good. Anyway, we move on to the pit stop phase then. Some guys going a bit longer, but not like last race where it made a big issue. Then we had Vergne and di Grassi start their big scrap, the big scrap of the weekend, what this race will be known for. The two titans of the sport going at it, amazing racing. And as soon as they got in their first and their second cars, they were straight at it. Lucas di Grassi trying to go around the outside, locked up a little bit, ran wide, looks like he's going into the wall, quickly sort of it wasn't a drift. He sort of ran off into the runoff area, spun around the rear, got back going. It was very, very cool to watch. I can't deny. I was very impressed with Lucas di Grassi there. Fantastic little move, if you want to call it that. But Verne still led. At this time as well, it was Daniel Abt who'd work his way up into P3. He was doing another solid job, especially after last weekend or the weekend before in Mexico City, where he got first place, his first proper win of the series, the first one that wasn't disqualified. He was third and he was looking to get a solid podium until he had an issue. He had to come in the pits, and he's not had good luck, Daniel Abt, this season whatsoever. If it had actually gone his way, I think he'd be up there fighting for the title, but you can say that about Lucas di Grassi as well, and a handful of other drivers, Felix Rosenqvist. So Abt, another gutting weekend for him, has gone by, and I do feel a bit sorry for him. I really do. However, he's had much better luck than others, so we'll move on from that. Then we really saw the big scraps kick in action. Di Grassi right up behind Jean-Eric Verne, hit the bollard through the chicane. Everyone thought, oh, the big scrap was going to be over, but it wasn't. They still kept on going. Meanwhile as well, through the midfield, we saw Sam Bird slowly moving his way up, starting way back outside the top 10. Very impressive job from Sam Bird, moving through the pack. And Mitch Evans as well started P16, and he'd worked his way all the way up to 5th and got stuck behind Alex Lynn. And that's when we saw the move of the season. He'd tried a couple of laps before, didn't quite manage to pull it off. But then up the inside of turn 13, a long right-hander, he moved up the inside, the tiniest gap. Fantastic move from Mitch Evans, and he's definitely been under pressure this season. But over the last couple of races, he's proved his doubters wrong, and he's right up there in the championship, only one place behind PK Jr. now. Although PK Jr. himself did retire earlier on in this race, and he didn't have the best luck this weekend whatsoever. But then it was the clash of the titans fully. The last sort of 10 laps, we had this major battle between Jev and Di Grassi, like I said. But no matter what Di Grassi did, he still didn't manage to get by. We saw contact on lap 34, and on lap 39, the final lap, he was so close to finally making that move, but he never quite managed to do it, which meant Jean-Eric Verne got his second race win of the season and extended his lead now to over a whole race worth of points. So Jean-Eric Verne destroying this championship at the moment, as we've just surpassed the halfway point. It's a bit all over the place, the calendar at the moment, because some races at the end of the season are pulling out and others are trying to be put in place, so it's very difficult to sort of work out what is going on there. So if I get an update about that, I'll put it in Formula E Weekly. But great job from Jean-Eric Verne and Di Grassi as well. A pretty much flawless weekend almost, finally getting that first podium of the season, which is ridiculous to say considering he's been quick this season. He really has. He's just been so unlucky, and you've got to feel for him. You really do. Although he's finally made his way into the top 10 in the points, so at least that's something to be happy about this weekend. And Sam Bird got on the podium somehow. After qualifying, it seemed like it would be impossible, but he managed to do it. Another great effort from him. And in 4th was Mitch Evans. Fantastic job from Mitch, pulling off that incredible manoeuvre, like I said. So fantastic stuff all around this particular race weekend. The race of the season. Is it the best race of all time? Not quite. I think last season's Mexico E-Prix, where Lucas di Grassi won, was the best of all time, and I think it would be difficult to beat that. However, this was a fantastic race between two incredible drivers of the sport, and so in terms of rating, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Very high score indeed. To get that 9, I'd have loved to have seen Di Grassi get past Verne, Verne get past Di Grassi again, a bit more of a scrap like that, rather than just it being really tense. But it was still great, the tension was there, and that's all that's needed. And as well, I'd have loved to have seen a big crash. Obviously a big crash always goes a long way in many people's books, and yeah, I do love a big crash. It does put a smile on everyone's faces, if everyone's alright, of course. But my driver of the day, it's very difficult of who to give it to. Jean-Eric Verne controlled the race. Di Grassi was right up there with him. But I think I've got to be looking at either Sam Bird or Mitch Evans. and I'm going to have to give it to Mitch Evans. Moving from 16th to 4th, under a lot of pressure from his team to perform, pulling off arguably the move of the season. Mitch Evans gets my driver of the day for this particular race weekend in Punta Del Este. So the full race classification then was John Eric Verne in P1, like mentioned. Great effort from him there from pole. Didn't get the fastest lap, but still a great job nonetheless. Lucas di Grassi P2, Sam Bird P3 and Mitch Evans P4. P5 was Felix Rosenqvist. He did a very good job as well, so I didn't really mention him in this review, but he started very far back as well, and he was definitely in contention for driver of the day. 6th was Alex Lynn, some good points for him there. 7th, Oliver Turvey. 8th was Jose Maria Lopez in the Dragon car with the fastest lap, so some good points there for him. 9th, Jerome D'Ambrosio, and 10th, Maro Engel. PK, Boemi and Heifeld did not finish. So the next race is in a month's time at a brand new circuit, the Rome circuit in Italy. I'm really looking forward to that one. Really looks a fantastic venue for the race, and it's definitely one I'd consider visiting in the future. But guys, hopefully you've enjoyed today's race review. Like, subscribe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.